Slay, Befriend, Romance. Your 3 options in every encounter in Dungeon Date, a quirky new tableau builder by Nerdy Pup Games. In a classic the dating game type of situation, monsters and other fabulous and fantastical creatures are arrayed in different rooms, and each round, players secretly select then reveal a room card showing which hot dungeon date you're going on, comparing your oh-so-fearsome and oh-so-sexy loot against the target stats in any one of the 3 encounter types of your choice. If you succeed, the monster and their guarded loot come to your pile. Romanced monsters score points if you continue to impress them with either more dating or slaying as they find most attractive, and befriended monsters will one-time add one of their stats to help you on a future encounter. And slain enemies are, well, just slain, chopped to bits, dead as a dungeon doornail. Eventually, when one of the dungeon piles runs out of progressively stronger monsters, the game will end and players will get points for suits and monster types in each of the 3 monster categories, and bonus points for date tokens you earned and your equipment that match the game's current in vogue style symbols. But Dungeon Date digs just a bit deeper, and players have 2 additional location cards. One allows you to backstab, a mechanic to steal a romanced or befriended monster, and another to visit the Stylomancer, who will summon you some loot to choose from, or because fashion is fickle, reveal another bonus scoring style symbol, and you can claim one of the new ones for your own personal scoring. And in a really cool move, the Stylomancer allows you to enchant your loot, combining categories to make massive over-adjectived gear, a must tactic for fashionable scoring and encountering high-level monsters through the game. The game itself is silly, but don't let its cutesy theme trick you. Dungeon Date is surprisingly engaging. It's not a particularly deep game. Effectively the same loop, albeit with different monsters and equipment, will be carried out each time you play, but between the outrageously charming theme, the concise but potent action selection, and the thrill of building out your tableau, the relatively shallow gameplay can mostly be forgiven. Add to that an exceptionally puzzly solo mode that always begs for just one more play, that can be expanded to full-on multiplayer co-op where players are trying to fulfill varying challenges before time runs out, and the fact that the game has loads of content from monsters to loot to even optional asymmetric characters and familiar powers that give each play a different vibe. Dungeon Date is a light game that packs a lot. Taken on its own merits, my main criticisms are that in some ways it's too small, too Spartan, creating a cluttered atmosphere largely based on the ridiculously tiny player boards. And while the art styles are individually excellent, there's a sort of incongruence between some of the components that undercut the game's aesthetic cohesion. And lastly, for a game that's ultimately pretty simple, I found that a few of the mechanics, which I recognize are necessary to balance out the game, from a tie-breaking fight system when players go to the same room in a round, to giving the loser spite to more likely break ties or win a backstab in the future, to the seemingly gajillion optional variants the game offers, it often felt more complicated than it was complex. But in spite of those criticisms, it still has heart, pizzazz, solid gameplay, an infectious solo mode, and it's one of the only games I've played unafraid to ask the tough questions, like are you prepared to confront the beguiling wit of 3 kobolds in a trench coat, or are you rocking an outfit so sexy that even blood orcs won't be able to resist? I don't think it always succeeds, but it does manage to be unique, smart, and absolutely charming. Dungeon Date knows what it is, a lighthearted, lightweight game with surprisingly succulent hooks, and it owns it well.